If you're thinking of starting a raised bed, but you're not really sure how to get started, well, keep on watching. This is the video for you. There are 4 things to consider when I think about starting a new raised bed. The first is budget, the second is space, the third is your plant, and the last is your planting soil or ingredients. Let's start with budget. Building a raised bed is not always feasible for everyone. You can start a new raised bed in a grow bag, a food safe container, or even in a cardboard box. I choose to build my own because it makes sense for me and I like the process of building something with my hands. I'm inserting a clip right here of my sister and I building a 2x8 foot raised bed from the wood that we bought from Home Depot that we had them cut to size. So you'll see the process of assembling it here and us adding some compost into the raised bed. The second thing to consider is your space. Now, determine where you're wanting to put your raised bed if it makes sense and it's easily accessible for yourself to pick what you need from there and harvest it and bring it inside. You should just think about the size of the space and what you have in comparison to how you want everything to be laid out, which makes sense for you to easily get around there. And then the last thing you want to think about is the plant. Yes, I said think about the plant. Yes, a lot of us don't always think about the plant. We just shove the plant wherever we think it makes sense for us, right? Here in Arizona, the summers are very, very brutal. And so it's very important that you keep in mind where you are planting your transplant that you buy from the nursery, right? So if the label on the plant says partial shade, make sure that you're putting the plant somewhere where it's covered in the afternoon sun, but maybe get some morning sun. And then afternoon shade rather. You don't want your plant to suffer any adverse effects from you planting it and then you spend all that money and then the plant dies, right? Lastly, I like to talk about the soil ingredients. I like to use the word ingredients because I think about the soil as this delicious pie or cake that you're wanting to bake and you have to mix all this wonderful ingredients to get the perfect cake. Well, for me, I think about the soil like this perfect mixture of ingredients that you got to put together to make sure you get the perfect plant flourishing and be the best that it can be. So whatever plant you want to grow in your garden, you need to know the hardiness zone so that your plant doesn't wilt or die because the growth could be stunted, right? It's important that you know that the Arizona soil is mostly gravel, clay, and rock. It's heavily compacted soil and it's alkaline and it's full of salt and rock, so which most edible plants don't thrive so well in. So to garden in this type of soil, it requires you to put back a lot of amendments back into your soil, preferably organic amendments to help your plant roots have the best starting point that it can so that it can thrive and survive here in Arizona. Some plants requires a more of an acidic soil, or you may need to put in potentially nitrogen or potassium back into your soil. So there is all these different things that you really need to consider because you do want your plant that you're planting to survive. After all, you did spend all that money to invest in it, so you really want your plant to do really, really well. When I think about the ingredients of the soil or the nutrients that I need to put back in the soil, I think about like how when you don't have vitamin D, your body, your bones in your body becomes more brittle and it's easy for you to, for it to break. So you want to take more vitamin C to get stronger bones. Or if you tend to get a lot of cramps, they recommend you having more magnesium to help your body cramp less. Well, just think about your plant. It needs nutrients also, just like your body needs nutrients. And in order for your body to function a certain way and to function at its optimal best, you need to give it these wonderful ingredients that we don't always eat, neither does the plant receive from the ground. So putting all these amendments in is so important. It's not just putting the plant in the ground, it's also adding in the wonderful amendments that your plant need. There are 2 plants that I'll be planting in the new raised bed. I'll be showing you what the raised bed looked like after we were done putting them, stacking them on top of each other and adding some compost. The first plant is called Hibiscus samdrifa, also known as sorrel in Jamaica, or roselle. It's also known as jamaica. You could jam it, juice it. The second plant that I'll be putting in that raised bed is a plant from the amaranth family. It's called callaloo, which is like a greeny, leafy green vegetable, similar to one of spinach in its taste, as well as how you kind of prepare it and prep it. And now I'm going to talk about the benefits of those 2 plants, which is important because I like to eat what I grow. So the 2 benefits that I'll be talking about here shortly, but before I do that, I want to just put a little bit of a disclaimer. The information on the benefits is information that I've gathered from talking to other people, and I've eaten these fruits for years, since I was a kid. So I don't have any adverse effects from it, but specifically the sorrel, I've read and researched, and I've heard from friends that it's lowered their blood pressure, as well as it's helped with blood sugar. Now, please consult a medical professional. I'm not a medical professional. I can only tell you what others have shared with me about what the plants has done for them, but please consult a medical professional in case you're taking medication that might interact with lowering your blood pressure, or medication for your blood pressure, or medication for your blood sugar. You don't want you're taking these things along with those medication. There might be some interaction, so just please consult a medical professional. Like I said, I'm not a medical professional, but I did wanted to share some of the benefits, which is one of the reasons why I like to grow them in my garden. And the callaloo also is rich in vitamin C, K, manganese. It's also calcium and iron, which are also really, really good for your body. You can never, as well as potassium, you can never go wrong on those things, right? Because your body needs those ones. It's also said that the callaloo helps promote cardiovascular health because of the nutrients that it provides, and it also gives you a lot of fiber, and also helps to lower your cholesterol, and that's based on information that I've read. So those are some really good information. The nice thing is that both callaloo that the callaloo specifically can grow in dry and clay-rich soil. You don't need to give it a lot of compost or planting soil for it to grow. It will grow at its optimum best if you give it a bit of compost or planting soil if you want to put it in your yard. Both roselle and callaloo require full sun. Like, when I mean full sun, I mean they thrive on sun. They will not burn. They will just continue to produce. The more you pick it, the more it will grow. I'm super excited to grow these, but I'll be walking you through the growing process of these plants from the beginning, all the way from harvesting it to plating it and to the table. I appreciate you all for watching. If you have any questions, please add them in the comment. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.